I read not too long ago that John Hamm, the lead actor in Mad Men, had donated $500 to Kamala Harris's election campaign. And at the time, I thought to myself, is that how much she charges for a pearl necklace? Holla. Thank you very much. Welcome to the Doodle Daddier podcast. Dad friendly entertainment for you and me. Controlling our kids' economy can make our kids great again. My three fuss free children, 98% of the time, are living proof of it. I wanted to call this episode Republican Pussies. I go to the wine shop to get some bourbon. My son was born on New Year's Day, which inspired one of his many A-plus nicknames, in this case being number one Capricorn. And she's this annoying woman who always goes out of her way to identify herself as a Republican. Or I'll go in there and she'll say, well, don't worry, Michael's a Republican. And I'll always say, actually, I have nothing to do with W's party. I am pro-Trumpian, meaning I am for a patriot that works for free, that prioritizes Americans first, who is for a border to prevent drugs from entering our country, who declared opiates as the real pandemic that it is, knowing that Chinese-made fentanyl smuggled in through the southern border, among other means, has killed more crackers in this country than Taylor Swift kicking it with Lena Dunham on Instagram. And I support a president that is the best friend Israel never had, who is largely responsible for normalizing peace treaties with United Arab Emirates, Sudan, Bahrain, in a quicker time than it takes for his son-in-law Jared Kushner to burst whenever Ivanka is wearing sheer in the sack on his birthday, talking dirty to him in Mandarin again. This is who I support. And anyone these days, knowing that there's only been one Republican senator, one, from the great state of Missouri. I think his last name is, I don't know what his last name is, but this is the point. The point being, there's only been one senator so far that has gone out of the line and said, this election is a travesty. We are on the verge of being a well-fed Venezuela for only a month longer until shit really hits the fan, and the American dream representing opportunity to provide the best possible life for your family, with there being ample job opportunities without being played by racial identity politics, is becoming a dwindling, disintegrated reality. Anyone that would identify themselves as Republican today are short-sighted, weaselly, pathetic, limp-wristed, gun-shy, establishment pieces of shit. How you could throw in the towel knowing that every single employee from Dominion in charge of these voting machines scrubbed their profiles on LinkedIn the moment they were under investigation. The moment that Sidney Powell had announced to the world that she was going to unleash the cracking, and you were going to feel an impact of reverberating biblical proportions. Anyone that thinks that this election wasn't stolen is either a out-of-touch elitist or someone that just suffers from major Trump derangement syndrome, or someone that is so indifferent to the welfare of his fellow Americans. And I want nothing to do with you in my life. I'm giving a pass to my parents because they're all alone in Arizona and all they do all day is watch CNN, the fear mongering network. I just saw them. They asked me to get a vaccine. They told me to promise. I crossed my fingers. At that point, I want to say, well, Dad, if you get a vaccine for Trump derangement syndrome, maybe I'll consider it. And, America is where I fell in love many times over with gorgeous Katie in the Cape, Summer Lamb in Hermosa Beach, my wife, Natalia Duffy, in the island of Manhattan. I achieved my dream of writing for TV in the big city for VH1 Classic, writing all the TV host reads for Chris Jericho. I've had sets in Manhattan, at the Cellar, where I've killed. It was only for 5 minutes, but I killed nonetheless. I've done deals as a headhunter in the big city, which have helped accelerated my manly metamorphosis development from the unsure knock-knee putts of yesteryear. All three of my children were born in New York, and to see my city gutted from top to bottom, all in the name of a sham, overly politicized pandemic where less people died last year than now, yet I'm supposed to believe in this incredible, spiky increase that's supposed to be the equivalent of the Black Plague. I don't think so. And usually when I do a podcast, I have jokes and I want to lighten the mood. And I just got a new headset. And the only reason I'm doing this podcast right now, I want to enjoy my children. My wife's at work. Tomorrow we start celebrating my son's birthday. Again, he was born on New Year's Day. He's turning 7. He's all grown up and he's all grown up. And I want to enjoy them. I missed them when I was in Arizona. My parents say, well, for future reference, how about you just visit us? Because it's easier for us that way, and the kids aren't here, and this way we don't have to act as interested. But I love my children, and I can't wait to be a star provider for them. This year, I've mentioned the podcast before, I'm going to be, pursuing education writing opportunities. I really want to put a spotlight on trade schools, alternative forms of education. Anything that is the exact opposite of what's being taught at universities today, whether it be Ivy League or not, because I have failed as a parent if my children become another blah brains, elitist, out of touch, humorless douchebag that is in bed with Facebook or Twitter that supports blatant censorship that's obviously against freedom of speech. And again, like I said, if you're against the wall, then you're pro-pedophilia, because sex trafficking is a living, breathing reality. We have a president that has been very outspoken about stopping the drugs, the sex trafficking. He's the only president we've ever had that hasn't got us involved in any foreign wars and entanglements. He's given our military a raise. He has completely cleaned house at the VA, making sure that it was easier to get rid of help there that were doing a major disservice to our vets. Our vets are now getting the service they deserve. And if we can't overturn this fraudulent election, then all of our great heroes will have died for nothing. And, instead of standing with the national anthem, we might as well roll ourselves in a ball and suck our thumbs and with a fucking mask on and, spend the rest of our lives as quivering cowards. Anyone that thinks that a Joe Biden presidency is going to usher in this new glorious era of normalcy is a delusional hack, or just someone that's so consumed with tape because Trump gets more tweets than them, and it's just blatantly pathetic. Professional sports is ruined. Late night comedy is ruined. Corporate America now is, for the most part, ruined. The deep state, China, how everyone does not recognize that. Well, I know 80 million branded racists recognize it, but how the rest don't recognize the fact that our entire way of life, as far as just being able to attend synagogue, church, express our point of view without being doxxed or fired or be under physical assault. Is this the US? Is this China? Is this Iran? Kamala Harris couldn't get 1% vote. No one loved Biden. No one cares about him. Again, shouldn't a man be judged by the fruit he enables? And if that's the case, then just once, don't you think it would have been nice if Joe Biden just said, hey, Hunter, maybe you want to cool out on knocking up baby mama strippers in Georgia? And how about refraining from creming in your dead brother's wife minutes after the cremation? Holla. Thank you very much. The main reason why I'm doing this podcast is because I feel that the greatest president of my lifetime, and it has nothing to do with the fact that he's gotten back to me a couple of times, and that's been as far as writing me letters of acknowledgement after I've professed my love and appreciation for all the work he's done for our country, as far as making our country great again, in addition to ball busting. And being able to share those moments with my children were wonderful, that I'll cherish forever. But, Donald Trump had this great line that he said to his son, Don Jr., before he ran for president, where he said, now we're going to find out who our friends are. And he cannot have been more prophetic, especially now. And I just want to tell you, POTUS, we've never met. I've never received an invitation to the White House. I know I'm not prominent enough for that just yet, but I love everything that you do. And I've had moments of doubt where I think, okay, you're not going to use the full extent of your power, and you're just going to take this on the chin, but that's not who you are. That's not how the big Donald rolls. You love our country too much. Like you said, we cease to exist as a country if we allow this illegal heist of biblical proportions persist and become an actual reality. And I just want you to know, President Trump, I love what you represent. I love everything that you've done. And on your behalf, I hate everyone that's ever tried to insinuate or outright declare you're a piece of shit or that you only care about yourself. And meanwhile, these people would never work for free and would never be able to endure this abuse, who are way more thin-skinned than they give themselves credit for. And you're the best friend Israel never had. And I love patriots. And I love men are also judged by the company they keep. The fact that you're breaking bread with Jim Brown forever, who's been reforming gangbangers since the dawn of time, speaks much more than being Jack Dorsey at Twitter and being boys with Fake News Fro Colin Kaepernick. And that's a Fake News Fro. Have you ever seen a biracial afro that large before? Slash from Guns N' Roses gave it a shot, and it was a total flop. Lenny Kravitz could never make it bounce that way. Another famous biracial Hebrew for those millennial musketeers not keeping up with me at home. So, Mr. President, this has been a glorious year. And if you deliver the smackdown of justice, which I know you're going to do, 2021 is going to be the most glorious one yet, because you will have exposed all the evildoers, all their enablers, all the empowerers, all the doubters, all the anti-American pieces of shit, all the parasitical fuckwads that don't deserve to live out the beautiful American dream in our God-blessed country, the New Jerusalem. And I will never forgive this blatant, systematic, coordinated form of backstabbing and disloyalty. And I love that you're a family man. I love that you're a self-made businessman. I love that you're a builder. I love that you're a dreamer. I love that you're a romantic at heart. And I love that you're a fighter from Queens. And 80 million plus Americans have your back. And we know deep down that you're going to do the right thing and do everything in your power to make sure that this blatant form of election fraud that has to do with overturning the will of the American people, I know for a fact that you can make sure that never happens again. And that would just be another amazing accomplishment that you've been able to do when you've had to work against so many forces of evil. You fight the good fight, and you continue to inspire me to do so. And I love you for it. God bless America, and I'll talk to you guys soon.